anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll. Fasten to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Savior's love. And on the wings of this beautiful song, I want to welcome you to tonight's edition of Fruitful Family. The name is Pastor Gate. And as always, at 9 o'clock, I come your way with Fruitful Family. And this program is brought to you under the auspices of Foundation for Fruitful Family, which is an outreach of J.B. Gate Ministries and Anchor Foundation. That's why I love this hymn. We have an anchor that keeps the soul, an anchor that is steadfast and sure while the billows roll. And we thank God for joining me tonight. And wherever you are, if you can hear me, you can also join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just type in the address JB Gate and you will be there. So join me on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. And hey, we will be a team tonight. Just type in JB Gate and you are there. And of course, while there, please like the page, follow the page, subscribe. That is very important so that anytime we come on air, you will receive a notification. And then finally, and most importantly, share, and share. Well, tonight, I have a very lean media team. The rest are supporting us from outside. I have in the studio Mr. Francis Dufe, who is, of course, the head of the media team. When he is around, I have no fears. And then, of course, David Tete Manche, who is his assistant. And look, the two of them are doing wonders in the studio tonight. So if you can hear me, or if you can watch me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, it's because these two are working very hard. And of course, the rest, Seth Tete, Seth Nate, as usual, is in the background sending the links. The others are not here with me tonight, but I know they are there because very soon I'll be seeing their notices that hey, they are with me and doing the stuff. So thank you guys for making it possible for me to handle this every Sunday. Good. And if you are listening, I also want to introduce you to the other program I do, and that is Lunchtime with Fathers. Lunchtime with Fathers. Lunchtime with Fathers comes to you every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 p.m. And there you can just join me raw on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The same address, JB Gate. And this time it is every Wednesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m. It's lunchtime with fathers. It's just it's a program um, for fathers. I guess it's a novelty because there is not I haven't seen or heard of any program that reaches out exclusively to fathers, and this is what the Lord has laid on my heart to do, especially this year. And so we're reaching out to fathers. So wherever you are, just join me every Wednesday afternoon from 12 noon to 1 p.m. It's a 1 hour program. It's a lunch program actually, and we eat the word of God. So join me as we share fruitful insights on fatherhood. Tonight, I want to continue my series on mothers of destiny. Mothers of destiny. And for um, I think for the past 2 weeks, we've been looking at a woman, a woman who is worthy to be celebrated. And all women like her deserve to be celebrated. And that woman is Rebecca. Rebecca. So we are still learning about Rebecca. And our major text for this study is from Genesis chapter 25. Genesis chapter 25, and then, of course, chapter 27. So let's take a few verses from Genesis chapter 25, and just as we recap what we have done for the past 2 weeks. So in Genesis chapter 25, from verse 20, we read, Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as a wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Now Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his plea. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. Now, there we talked about the fact that sometimes when there is delayed pregnancy, the men or the fathers shouldn't, or the men, our husbands shouldn't leave everything to the women, going to the clinic, going for prayer, drinking this medicine and all that. They should get involved. And just like Isaac did, after 20 years, he realized that it was time he got involved. And when he pleaded with the Lord for his wife, the Lord granted his plea. And it's interesting that we're not talking about the prayer of the woman, but the Lord granted the plea of the man for his wife, and the wife became pregnant. Fine. We talked about that one. And then from verse 22, we are told that, but the children struggled together within her. And she said, if all is well, why am I like this? So she went to inquire of the Lord. So it was not only Isaac who was prayerful, Rebecca was also prayerful. But when it came to one matter, the Lord um, heeded to the plea of the husband. But then this other time, there was a struggle in the woman's womb. And it was not the normal struggle that pregnant women go through. This was unusual. And so what she decided to do was to go to God in prayer. God, if all is well, if you gave me this miracle, if you intend to bless me, then why am I like this? Why is this thing going on within me? And the Lord told her something that would become the basis of her decisions and her actions. Verse 23, the Lord said to her, two nations are in your womb, two peoples shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. Now, this was the prophetic word, or the revelatory word that Rebecca received from Jehovah. He said, two nations are in your womb. Two people shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger. Now, so we read the rest of the story. We realize that uh, after some time, she gave birth to Esau and Jacob. Now let's move on to chapter 27 and maybe start from verse 1. Now it came to pass when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, that he could not see, that he called Esau his older son and said to him, my son. And he answered him, here am I. Then he said, behold, now I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Therefore, please take your weapons, your quiver. Sorry. Yeah, please take your weapons, your quiver and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt game for me, and make me savory food such as I love, and bring it to me that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die. Now, here they were. Isaac loved Esau, Rebekah loved Jacob. We are told why Isaac loved Jacob. We are told that because he enjoyed of his venison, Esau would bring game or bushmeat to Isaac, and Isaac loved it, and so Isaac loved Esau. But we are not told why Rebekah loved Jacob. But then you realize that when they were in the womb, God said about Jacob that he would be stronger, and that his brother would serve him. So by the prophetic word, or by the revelation, Rebekah knew that the blessing that came to Abraham, that was passed on to Isaac, would eventually be passed on to Jacob and not to Esau. And so she loved Jacob, and encouraged Jacob, took good care of Jacob, so that Jacob would become the third person in the within the patriarch system. And the first of the patriarchs is Abraham, then Isaac, then Jacob. And this Rebekah knew very well. So hey, let's move on. But then when the time came, Isaac, who had no idea about the revelation Rebekah had, decided to go the normal way, the natural way. The older son, and of course the son he loved for a reason, and he wanted to pass on the blessing to him, or the inheritance to him. But and of course, he wanted to do it on the basis of food, which was wrong in itself, you know. But verse 5 tells us, when he was saying that to his son Esau, Rebekah was listening. And so quickly Rebekah called Jacob and said, "Hey, Jacob, your go, just go to the backyard, catch one of the lambs or goats, and let me prepare something for your father, so he may eat and give you the blessing." Jacob initially resisted, because he was afraid of the repercussions, and so Rebekah had to encourage Jacob. "Look, I am doing this for a reason. I am doing this because I know by prophetic revelation that the blessing is yours." But then, if Rebekah had not done that, there was no way Jacob was going to receive the blessing. It was a done deal. It was going to Esau. So Rebekah spoke to Jacob and said, "Indeed, your father um let's see let's see yeah, he said, 'Indeed, I heard your father speak to your brother, saying, bring me game and make me savory food, that I may eat and bless you in the presence of the Lord before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice according to what I command you. Go now to the flock and bring me from there 2 choice kits of the goats. I will make savory food from them for your father, such as he loves. Then you shall take it to your father, that he may eat it, and that he may bless you before his death.' And then, of course, Jacob said, 'Look, mother, my brother Esau is a hairy man. I am a smooth-skinned man. I mean, there is no, though father is almost blind, I mean, there is a way father will find out from my skin.' The mother said, 'Look, um, the mother said, let that curse Because Jacob said, if I'm not careful and my father discovered, he may rather curse me. And the mother said, just leave it to me. Let that curse be upon me. You just do what I have said. So Rebecca put her life on the line just to get the blessing in the right direction through Jacob. And he said, let your curse, if there will be any curse, I absolve you of it. Let that curse come on me. Now, we've looked at all this, and we have looked at how Rebecca placed herself in the line of danger, because if Isaac had discovered that Rebecca was scheming, that would have ended the marriage, if not end her life. I mean, it would have certainly ended the marriage. Rebecca was prepared for that. And if Isaac discovered that Jacob was deceiving him, he would have cursed Jacob. Rebecca said, let that curse come upon me. So she was prepared for anything. Why? Because she believed in the destiny of Jacob. He believed what God told her, that two nations are in your womb, and two people shall be separated from your body, that the older shall serve the younger. And she believed it and held on to it, that no matter what, I would not allow anything to destroy this. So we saw the mother putting herself in the line to ensure that Jacob received the blessing. Now, before we continue, I just want to read the blessing that Jacob received from Esau. Amazing, amazing. Genesis chapter 27, verse 26. Then his father said to him, now this was after Jacob had done what the mother said, and the mother had prepared the food and given it to Jacob to send to the father Isaac. Because Jacob was afraid of the nature of his skin, or the feel of his skin, the mother had to put some wool or fur on his body to make him hairy, because that was how Esau looked and felt. So that was one. But it is interesting that when Jacob got to Isaac, he told, Father, here is what you said. And Isaac heard the voice. And he said, are you sure you are my son Esau? And Jacob said, yes, daddy. And Isaac said, that is the voice of Jacob. But come near, my son. Let me feel you. He felt him, and said, but this is the voice of Jacob, but the skin is that of Esau. There he was confused. But because this whole plan was backed by a divine revelation, and I said last week that when Rebecca received that prophetic word, just like Paul told Timothy, she waged a good warfare with the prophetic word. She didn't just relax to let things go on naturally because God has said it. She had to fight. She had to risk her life. She had to take up the prophetic word and move with it. And so in doing all this, because she took the step to obey God, God also assisted her. And so the first miracle that happened was that this was Isaac, who enjoyed bushmeat or venison from Esau every time. And this last time he was saying, look, bring me bushmeat. prepare it the way that I love, and I will bless you. And yet, when Rebecca used goat meat to prepare that soup of food, Isaac could not detect it. That is strange. Somebody with a strong taste for bushmeat could not tell the difference between bushmeat and goat meat. God had to do something with his taste buds and made him taste the goat meat as if it was bushmeat. That is what happens when we walk in obedience, in the light of his word. He backs us up and he turns things around to favor us. So that was the first miracle. Number two, and the second miracle was that Isaac could hear Jacob's voice, felt Esau's skin, and still would pass on the blessing. I mean, what is more convincing than the voice? But the man said, look, this voice is Jacob's voice. He knew it. And the moment he knew it, God confused him with that. And so he said, okay, come, let me feel you. And when he felt the hair on the body of Jacob, he said, well, that is it. Then, so let me just read verse 26. After this, then the father Isaac said to him, come now and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his clothing and blessed him. So, apart from putting hair, some hair on his skin, he also had to wear Esau's dress or Esau's clothes so that he would smell like Esau. How he got the wisdom to do that, it's another miracle. So when he came near, and Isaac smelled, his clothing, he said, oh, and I love this. He said, surely the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed. And this is how Isaac admired Esau. So he was starting even with the smell of his body and the smell of his clothes. But though the clothes belonged to Esau, the body belonged to Jacob. And so Jacob received the blessing. And he said, therefore, may God give you the dew of heaven, of the fatness of the earth, and plenty of grain and wine. Let peoples serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be master over your brethren, and let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be those who bless you. So if you take a critical look at the blessing, Isaac was almost repeating what God said to Rebekah in the prophetic word, because Isaac knew that there was some blessing that needed to be passed on to his son. And so he said, look, let peoples serve you, let nations bow down to you, and let your mother's sons bow to you. So already he was giving him nations, he was giving him people groups, he was giving him his mother's children. And what did God say? God said, nations will come out of you. And said, the older shall serve the younger. But with what Isaac was doing here, he wanted the normal thing where the younger would serve the older, but for the intervention of Rebekah. And so the blessing remained with Jacob. But the story is not about Jacob, nor Esau, nor Isaac. The story is all about Rebecca. And that is why I see Rebecca as a mother of destiny, a mother who was ready to put her life down in order to ensure that what God had said would come to pass. And so last week, when we looked at the story, we looked at a few things and and related it to mothers. Number one, we looked at a mother's pain, the pain of mothers, which was Rebecca's pain. We looked at how mothers go through certain pains, and linking that with Rebecca. Listen, we realize that Rebecca went through, first of all, delayed childbirth. Delayed childbirth. For 20 years, Rebecca remained childless for 20 years. Those of us in Africa, and especially here in Ghana, will understand the pain of this woman. And that, of course, that represents the pain of many, many women. Delayed pregnancy, whoa. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and already the family begins to get apprehensive. And the pressures start coming. 4 years, what is happening? And I've shared it on this program before, that I know how it feels to go through that, because I had to wait for 6 years before it happened. And during those 6 years, people said things, family said things, friends said things, enemies said things. And you see, the couple themselves may be having some anxiety, but then because they love each other and because they pray together, somehow they are able to handle the delay. Of course, they can even believe God and wait for their time. But the pressure comes from the family. Pressure comes from the society. The moment somebody gets married, excuse me, the next thing everybody expects is outdooring. And sometimes, right at the engagement or the traditional wedding, uh, uh, people start talking about when the babies are coming, as if that is all there is to marriage. And then, if after 2 years or 3 years they are not seeing anything, then they start talking. And for Rebecca to have endured this for 20 years, she went through pain. It was the same pain that Hannah went through until she had to go to the temple of God and groaned. She groaned until um, the high priest Eli even thought she was drunk. But she said, "No, I am a woman in agony. I am a woman in pain, in agony. Why? Because my rival, my rival never ceases to flaunt her children before me." It was eating her up, the pain. So Rebecca went through the pain. That other pain she went through, was apart from the delayed childbirth, there was also the disturbing pregnancy. And last week we talked about what women go through when they are pregnant. Oh my word. Um, I think it's something men should really, really understand and get their hands to it. Listen, when a woman is pregnant, and I keep saying this, when a woman is pregnant, she is not normal. She ceases to be a normal human being. She ceases to be to even to be for lack of a better expression, she even ceases to be physical, because you see, at that moment, she is working with God to create a human being. There is a human being inside her, developing inside her. And for God to bring out a human being, that woman must keep that object in the womb for 9 months until God is done working, and then the baby comes out. So she is a co-worker with God, and in the process of procreation. And so it's not easy. It's not a light thing. It's not something people should make fun of, because the woman works with God. The woman works with God. The man plants the seed, yes, because that is what he does. But after planting the seed, whatever happens to the seed, and the fetus, becomes a matter between the woman and God. They go through a lot of pain, a lot of disturbances, the morning sickness, the change of appetite, and so on. The anemia, they lose blood. They have to eat things they don't even like. It's a whole lot. They get hot flashes. Sometimes they cannot sleep. Can you imagine? You sleep and you can turn on the left side, turn on the right side. You can even, sleep on your tummy. But it is not so with these women. They will have to lie down in one position. If she has to turn, it's another thing altogether, because there is something in the tummy. Disturbing pregnancy. And sometimes doctors will tell you there is ectopic, or there is this, that the baby is forming outside the womb, or the baby, there is a breach, the baby is not, the head is not facing down, and so on. So many challenges. So apart from the delayed pregnancies, there is also delayed childbirth. There is also disturbing pregnancy, and there is difficult labor. It is not easy. Can you imagine what Rebecca went through? She was giving birth. The first baby came, and when the first baby came, the second one was holding the heels, literally the leg of the first one. So there was no break, no break. She had to keep pushing, pushing. When the first one came, the second one was also coming, and there was already that link. So she couldn't have stopped pushing. And for those of us who have big heads, we can imagine the torture we made our mothers go through when they were giving birth to us. There is a pain associated with all this that only mothers know, and that is why mothers need to be celebrated. Number two, mother's prayer. There is mother's prayer. Before then, oh, okay, we have Jennifer Kaki on the line. We have Gloria Awuku on the line, all the way from the United States. Hey, Madam Gloria, God bless you. Keep listening. And I guess there are others also. Oh, okay, Shadi is listening to us. Uh, Jennifer is all over. Splendia Monka is also there. My number one fan, Mrs. Gate, is there on the line. Hey, what's up? Um, there is one Felicia. Okay, Edumensa. You are also listening to us. And my son David Wumpuni Nabila, he's on the line. Nana Champoma is there. Peter Kumoji, and so on. Oh, okay. So all these wonderful people are online. Let me know when you come online. At least say something so that we know you are there. Good. So the second thing we need to know about mothers is their prayer. First of all, their pain, and number two, their prayer. Oh, only mothers know what they go through and the prayer they pray. Rebecca prayed when the children were in the and she was ready to ask God. She was ready to accept God's verdict on the matter, and she was ready to act out her prayer. Listen, thank God for praying mothers. Thank God for praying. Look, if you are a mother and you don't pray for your children, start doing so now. Start doing so now. Sometimes, pray with them, pray for them. Sometimes when the children even sleep, just sneak into their rooms, lay hands on them and pray for them. You have no idea what you are nurturing and what you are nursing. That's a bundle of destiny right there. And as you pray, God works and destiny is formed. So thank God for praying mothers. I had a praying mother, and I will never stop talking about that. I had a praying mother sometimes you visit, and all she wants to find out is whether you are okay. Is there something I could keep praying about for you? And you can be sure that she takes your prayer and she prays for you. Look, I am a minister, I pray, but hey, I had one strong intercessor in my mom, and may the Lord rest her precious soul. Mothers, mothers, and they only know what they pray for us about. Number three, we also saw a mother's preference. A mother's preference. No, sometimes you wonder, a mother may have a lot of children, but you realize that she prefers a particular one. And don't you ever think that the mother is being partial. For Rebecca, for Rebecca, it was not by accident. It was not by default. It was by design, by real choice, because she chose by revelation. She had two children. She didn't hate Esau, but she loved Jacob. Why? Because there was revelation. And only mothers know what they receive from God spiritually. And that informs the way they relate to their children. You see, later on we will talk about Jochebed, the mother of Moses, who preserved Moses, and for that matter, created a great destiny for the children of Israel. That was in Moses. At a time when every every mother was supposed to kill her male child, Jochebed decided to keep the child. It didn't matter if and she risked her life. The the Bible gives us a reason. And there is a little phrase there which says, because he was a goodly child. Well, that goodly, I'm not too sure if it's proper, in this modern context. But the word goodly implied that the child was not ordinary. that there was something about the child that was special, supernatural. Nobody saw it, but Jochebed saw that in Moses, and so said, I'm not going to kill him. While others were doing that. So later, when the baby's cry was so loud in the house and could betray her easily, she decided to risk her life. Created the basket, put something in it, so the basket will float, and put the baby in it, and asked the daughter to hide in the bushes and check what would happen. Look, it takes a mother of destiny to take that step. And it was all because she just did not see the baby as an ordinary baby. Listen, if you are a mother, the child God has given you is a special child by all standards. And so pay attention. One fanchem and abakade brofuna tsuesima watado. But the American in there, ya maka kwanzo mbesino na the American a mother's preference sensira en nanom hwenenyi kuku hwanamba ho. Onye de won bu wanda waye moframa keke na mmom waye nyamine japadze a hone dachi okita honsem. Look, oninti na ena bitum ton na egudzi no da hwe ne ba. Na ɔde sɛ ɛde wo nsa ka ne ba a ɔtumi ɔbɔ n'abɔsoɔ na ɔka dɛ ɔnyɛ wobɔko. Ɔmfa no ho dɛ ne ho nyɛ dzen. Ɛde wo nsa ka ne ba no nkotee de ahoɔdzen bi baba no mu na waka dɛ ɔnyɛ wobɔko. Osiane dɛ mba no yɛ gyapadze kɛse dze ma hɔn. Na sɛ ɔba no Rebecca dze a, ɔno sensire a ɔdze dɔ Isaac, ɔdze dɔ Jacob. Na ɔma n'akoma kedzi Jacob ekyir to the extent dɛ na nkyɛ onyayi mpo a sɛ ndome bi mpo reba Jacob do a nara nkasa bafa ndome no. Look, Rebecca did not benefit from whatever she did for Jacob. No. Of course, they were already blessed, married to Isaac, the son of Abraham. They were already blessed. But then when she stood in and got Jacob the blessing, Rebecca, did not benefit. As a matter of fact, she even lost. Because when Esau later found out and threatened to kill Jacob ran away. The last time Jacob saw his mother was when the mother said, run away, go back to Syria, back to Padanaram, back to my brother Laban, and he will take care of you. That was the last time Rebecca saw her son. And sadly, even when Rebecca died, Jacob couldn't come for the mother's funeral. Mothers do these things not because of what they would benefit or get, but because they believe in the destiny of their children. Rebecca chose by revelation. Rebecca chose by reason. Rebecca chose by the reality of the situation and decided to work with God and make sure that the promise of God would come to pass. Look, Rebecca no nyo dadafo. Tidema ibinumako Rebecca or your dadafo and ordering dadano also neba Jacob ne Jacob so be your dadafo na dokeka ho. What are you talking about? Ono na watsi bibia fi Nyankopon ho de ne be ye day. Na ohwa ejei so boro ye no onye dza onye nyame n'asɛm no kɔ ɔyɛ dɛn na ɔba ka kyerɛ no kun dɛ nyankopɔn ayɛ nhyehyɛ no dɛ ade nhyira no ɔbɛkɔ Jacob hɔ ɔkɛkɛ dɛm ankyɛ no ho bɛkyerɛ ɔsi no montom nkaka but motom ma yɛ ho biribi na ɔyɛ so ma nyame bɔn nti Rebecca de far be it ɔnyɛ ɔdaadaafo mmom ɔyɛ ɔkofo. And for me, Rebecca is a heroine. Ojine na omanyame na ne tum obem. And that is a mother's preference. Dr. Dibio, yenhwe a mother's plan. A mother's plan. And nanom wo nhyehyɛ a woyɛ na ɔyɛ yenyim nti ina ye hahe. Look, in her plan, she knew that if she made a mistake, it will cost her her marriage. In her plan, she knew that if she made a mistake, she would receive a curse on her family. In her plan, she knew that if she made a mistake, that would be her end. So she risked separating herself from her son. If it demanded the son leaving her for good, she was ready to endure that as long as God's plan came to pass. Hey, Rebecca ninshi anything I know in the preachers be what bonizin bon da oye ordinary no kwa oduto ho ni nyinara no wasi wo your dada fu debi ninshi a oye no enanche obotum wa ma awereja ya aba ninshi a oye no enanche obotum wa ma ndome aba nodo nanso oye osande ena ojidza nyankopon aka no di ena onyim. I mean, listen, no nyim that za oriye se neja ne kunu keka no ho ana ne ba Esau keka no ho a Jacob yintsena fie ho nso so onye hwe mo ba kɔ do hia menyi de za nyame aka no obebem onye za amimenya ena bia nyen a nkyɛnem ba tena ne nkyɛn da nanso okodur baby no ina nya awar na Jacob ruwaro akɔ na mmom ɔyɛ suro na Jacob diri fifie hɔ nso ɔgye ntata ogya no kwanda moba kɔ non kama nkutin wɔ fie ha na menyi wagya na Esau yɛntena. Can you imagine how Rebecca spent the rest of her life in that home? With Isaac knowing that Rebecca planned everything, with Esau knowing that his mother planned everything. Hey, in fact, for Esau, he even became so bitter that he decided to marry from Edom against the wishes of the parents. He rebelled. He rebelled and married so that it would pain the mother. Share the Rebecca fame on the form. There Isaac Jacob egwan na owe there Rebecca onye Isaac sana. Wabra Isaac sunyim there damana myiri waye wa ma ba mo donna ncha oda midin shira na mano no ne nsa nka nshira no. Na can you imagine that Esau sunyine maame betena inyom maame edi mu nua n'echi ma waje nshira afimi nsem wa ma bibia otwa akoma ma maame aye wanyine nkasa wo fie ho nso wa ho Rebecca osande no nyim de Nyame aka ne dze ɔwɔ obem. That is why Rebecca is a mother of destiny. And that is why she is a woman to be celebrated. Na Dr. Dibio, Yakasafa, a mother's pain, a mother's prayer, a mother's preference, a mother's plan, finally, a mother's power. Tuma and number one, we shouldn't underestimate them. No, we shouldn't underestimate what a woman can do, especially if she is doing it to preserve the destiny of her son. Don't try. Don't try. Rebecca was skillful. Said, hold on. You said you are smooth skinned. I will create hair on your skin so that you will be a hairy person. Oh, don't worry. I will let you wear your brother's clothes so that your father would smell your brother in you. She was strategic. So Rebecca was skillful. Rebecca was strategic. Rebecca was spiritual. What she was doing was not deception. It was, it was, she was waging a good warfare. She was fighting a battle to bring the word of God to pass. And that is how powerful Rebecca was. Am I getting some more people on? Oh, James Awudi is there. That is Pastor James. You are there. There is a course. Uh-oh. Um, Look, people, you may have to work on this thing for me. The names are, I mean, there are no notifications that people are sending messages, but I'm not seeing them. I must have pressed the wrong thing. Okay, okay, it's back. There is one Akos Dawe, um, Nanajua Mwakun, Colin Sapia, and a few other names. Uh, Paul Daniels. Oh, Apostle Paul. Rabbi, you are there. God bless you. Good. So, what do I say in conclusion? Because we want to end the story of Rebecca, the woman or the mother to be celebrated. You see her pain, you see her prayer, you see her preference, you see her plan, and you see her power. What can I say? To all Rebeccas, to all mothers of destiny. Look, and I'm going to do this series until Mother's Day. And I'm praying that you will stay with me till then. So, to all mothers who are Rebeccas, to all mothers who are ready to risk their lives for their children, we celebrate your great strength. Your great strength. We celebrate your godly sacrifice. We celebrate your genuine selflessness. We celebrate your grounded steadfastness. And we celebrate your gentle simplicity. We see all these in Rebecca. Rebecca was a woman of great strength, and she showed how tough she was by standing on her ground and fighting, waging a good warfare to bring God's promise to pass. She was a woman of great strength. She was also a woman of godly sacrifice. She was prepared to sacrifice her life in order to ensure that what God had said came to pass. Godly sacrifice. She was also a woman of genuine selflessness. Now she was ready to let everything go, lose her own son, lose her own life, receive a curse on her but on herself. She was so selfless that she wouldn't even care as long as she ensured that her son was fulfilled in his destiny. Then this was a woman with grounded steadfastness. Rebecca didn't see foam. They also look, let your curse come upon me. Oh, she knew there would be no curse. She knew that Jehovah would fight for her. She knew that her son, Jacob, would finally inherit the blessing. Onye nhyira na ɔkɔɛ no, wehu ne bio. Nanso, na komemte. Oh, na what's na koma atoni yem. She was fulfilled, satisfied that finally, what God has said about my son has come to pass. He got the blessing. Grounded steadfastness. Oh, and she was a woman of gentle simplicity. She wouldn't fight her husband over her husband's wrong choice. She wouldn't fight the son Esau over his activities and so on. Just in that gentle simplicity, she exhibited strength and ensured that the right thing was done. Mother, mother of destiny, Rebecca. God willing, the next time we will talk about Jochebed, the mother of Moses. She is another mother of destiny. And so we'll talk about her after this. Now, God willing, on Wednesday, we will um, we will meet you again on a program I have called Lunchtime with Fathers. This is just a talk with fathers. So Wednesday from 12 p.m. till 1, from 12 noon to 1 p.m. Just join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube on the address JB Gate. And so all those watching me now who have joined me now, make sure you share the link. And when you join me there, please share the link. You can even start subscribing now, so that once we start, you get the notification. And if you have the link, share it with friends and let them also join me this Wednesday. So until then, I pray that the good Lord, if you're a woman listening to me, that God will make you like a Rebecca, will help you discern what his will is concerning your children. That you will not give up on the destiny of your children, but that you will fight, wage a good warfare to bring to pass what God has said. My name is Pastor Gate, and God willing, we'll catch you again, same time next week. Until then, hey, thanks to my media team, Nutifafa Segbenya just joined us. I think he joined us earlier, but he was on the other side, so I wasn't seeing him. And so together with Francis Dufe, David Tete, then of course Nutifafa has been a blessing. And thank you, people, for making sure that this program came on. I bless you, listeners, in the name of the Lord. And so until I come your way again, I say Barikiwe, be blessed. Pastor Gate is the name, and I'm out of here.